Pugs and Parker's Pillow Talk. That's right. We do this every Monday through Thursday evening at 9 p.m. It's myself, Pugs Moran, James Parker. He'll be along shortly. And sometimes we're even graced by the presence of E the Artist. Yeah, that's the three of us that we gather here. Like I said, Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. We've been doing a lot of guests lately. Who might we have on the show today? I have no idea, because that's pretty much the domain of this guy. He's James Parker, ladies and gentlemen. Look at him right there. Looks like, remember Mark Van Eaton? Mark Van Eaton, if he had a smaller brother. You know, remember Mark Van Eaton? He was like, I think he was a Maverick. No, who was the Maverick? You would know this. He was like 12-foot tall white kid. Sean Bradley. Okay, so like Mark Eaton. Yeah, okay, it was Sean Bradley. I was thinking, that's it. You're like Sean Bradley's shorter brother.
I am not too far off from Sean Bradley. And I met him once. It was right before I started working on your show in Dallas. So this was like 2002. And I was working at the Vitamin World in the Willow Bend Mall. You know, like Tollway and Park.
Sure.
Or whatever. And dude came walking by, and since I'm in a vitamin store, we have all kinds of athletic supplements. And so he was looking at some of our displays, and to come in the door, he has to duck down.
Yeah.
Right. Like I'm getting into a car like that. It was so bad. And I remember for the rest of the day, I was just thinking about what it must like to be, 7 foot. What was he, 7'4" or something stupid like that? And just like, how do you take a dump in a public bathroom? How do you get into a
How
regular?
do you sleep in a hotel bed? How do you buy a car and ever feel comfortable? That has got to be. I mean, look, that's why every time I see a dude at the mall, and we see him at the mall from time to time, dudes in their 20s who are 7 foot tall, who are not in the NBA, and I always think, man,
nightmare.
Your life is a nightmare because you're just tall without the NBA money. You're just awkwardly too big for society. Hey, look, we got E here. E wants to come join us. Look at him. He's joining us down there. We're talking about when we see tall people, how freaky that is.
Well, I don't think it's freaky.
Well, 7'4", that's not a little freaky. I mean, we're not talking about me. I'm 6'3". That's not what we're talking about.
It's no different to me than like 1,000 pounds.
Well, that's freaky too. Okay, so that would be really freaky too. When I see 1,000, I've never seen, I don't think, 1,000-pound person, but when I do. All right, so was he the tallest, the biggest weirdo you ever saw, James? Big, giant freak of a human? What was his name again? Sean Bradley?
Sean Bradley. Yeah. He was the Stormin' Mormon before Taysom Hill became a thing, and he's taken over that title.
Did you tell him at 8 foot tall he doesn't need any more vitamins? He needs to dial back maybe on the vitamins? He
probably needs something for the cartilage in his spine and maybe the connective tissue, his tendons and ligaments, on his bone structure, because that did not serve him well for the Mavericks.
E, let me toss the ball over to you. I'll ask you a very similar question. Now, you've got a very storied life. You've jet set across all four corners of the world. Let me ask you this. Who's the biggest human being you've ever seen?
Who's
the biggest?
I mean, like at one time I saw, Andre the Giant live. He was big.
Yeah.
He was big. Shaq's big.
Shaq's big. I stood next to Shaq. Shaq is massive.
Shaq is big.
What's that like? Standing next to Shaq, because Sean Bradley is outweighed by Shaq by about 70 pounds of muscle.
Standing next to Shaq is one thing. I stood next to Shaq while Shaq was wearing a floor-to-shoulder fur coat. It was like I was standing next to a Russian circus bear. Like a gigantic Russian circus bear.
Sean Bradley was more praying mantis-like. He seemed very tall and kind of
wiry. Yeah.
The thing, the impression I got, because I haven't spent a lot of time around excessively tall people, but when I was around Sean Bradley, it felt exactly like when you're a kid and you have to look up to your dad, or you don't know what that it's like, Pugs, but look up to an adult. No, but that's how I felt. It felt very childlike to be next to someone and you only come up to their nipples,
Yeah. I don't know. It does suck unless you've been able to somehow convert your awkward, weird size into like big time fun at the bank. I feel bad for you because the world is just not built for anybody over 6'5".
Oh, and look,
Hulk Hogan's big,
is he that tall though? He's
Is he
but
tall?
he's kind of big,
he's
I
you
bet.
know,
Yeah,
in terms of like
but we're
person
talking like
wise.
7'5". You know, we're talking like
Yeah,
people who
no, he's
basically
not
hang
there. He's
out
not
with that.
there. But I'm just saying, like people that had like you see them and then you think, well, maybe because that was on camera, they weren't that big. Hulk Hogan, when you see him in person, he's big. Brock Lesnar, another guy, when you see him in person, he's big.
cool.
You know,
All right, Brady, the last Maverick you can name besides Dirk and Luca is Rolando Blackman. That's not true. You never heard of Kyrie Irving? It's been
Jalen Brunson
even if you don't
for a
keep up
time.
with it, it's been in the news. It's been a headline for about a month now.
What's the complaint? What's the complaint that we're addressing here from Brady?
Oh, that he can't name any Mavericks. That
No.
it's not necessarily a complaint. It's just, I mean, if he's complaining about anything, it's about himself.
you know who looked really small that I
Who?
just recently saw?
Who?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. Where did you just recently see Tom Brady? Tell us this. There's got to be a story.
At the UFC fight.
Oh yeah, he was over in Vegas for the John Jones return fight against Cyril.
Oh, damn, that's right. You went to
Yeah.
Vegas. Oh,
Mhm.
man, how awesome was that?
It was great. I mean, it was a great card. Seats were like right where they walked out, like where they would turn out for the tunnel. Jake Gyllenhaal did like about 4 takes because they're making this UFC movie. And so they had him do like the walkout, and then he got in the ring, and then he was like, you know, doing all the UFC kind of fighter things. And then him and some guy threw down in the ring like 2 or 3 times, and they were filming it.
Jake
Then they came
Gyllenhaal?
back. Hmm?
Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yeah.
Okay. That's incredible. So he's going to be playing a MMA fighter in an upcoming movie, and they used the
UFC movie.
John
Yeah.
Jones fight to actually film the fake scenes. That's so cool. You got to see that. I'm so jealous because I went to a UFC match in New Orleans once, and I remember how even as not a regular UFC fan, I totally enjoyed all 3 hours.
Okay, so here's what Emil was describing. He didn't have any details. Now I've got all the details. What you were watching was scenes being shot for the Roadhouse remake, the remake of Roadhouse.
The Roadhouse, Double Deuce.
Yeah. Jake Gyllenhaal shows impressive Jake Gyllenhaal shows impressive physique during Roadhouse filming at UFC 285. The actor trash talked and weighed in and landed a knockout finish in the octagon. Announced last year with the addition of Conor McGregor to the cast, the reboot of Roadhouse is continuing to get film fans excited. This past weekend, star Jake Gyllenhaal took part in filming key scenes for the remake of the 1989 film during the lead up to a night of fighting at UFC 285. And we had our man there. He was there. Look at that.
I was. I also saw the female fight.
You had no details.
I do remember now that you say Roadhouse. I remember that it was, you know, it was one of the bigger things I dropped. You know,
it's like the worst sideline reporter.
A Roadhouse remake was there. It was, you know,
well,
there.
Here comes
Marky Mark was there. Saw him a bunch.
Okay,
that's cool. All right. Well, Skeptical James questions the validity of the Roadhouse reboot, seeing as how the Double Deuce contained no MMA fighters.
Well, Dalton was if that movie had been made 15 years later, Dalton would have been an MMA fighter.
Oh, stop it.
Of course he would have.
He was just a bouncer. He's the best cooler in the land.
Oh, remember he was the Tai Chi guy. He had all kinds of like Eastern pain don't hurt. He had all kinds of weird Eastern philosophy running through. He would have been an MMA guy.
I think Confucius wrote that. I think Confucius wrote pain don't hurt. I saw that in a fortune cookie. That's one like Art of War or something. Yeah.
It's a remake, so you know, little artistic freedom to drag you into the UFC ring.
You got to modernize it. The last time it was the late 80s. They're chucking around in late 70s Trans Ams.
I'm going to be excited to see if I'm actually in it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, because you were right by the little
Oh,
walk.
front row, dude. Like, if they're walking out, like, and I'm like right here, and they're walking out like right there. Like, there was
All right.
nothing between. Like, I could have like high fived Jake
You're in
Gyllenhaal.
there, dude. You're in it. You're gonna be in this sweet ass. You're gonna be in the freaking Roadhouse remake, Emil. Now, listen. When's the last time you two have seen Roadhouse? And people that are just watching in the comments or whatever, think about when's the last time you literally watched
Is
Roadhouse?
that the one with Patrick Swayze?
Yeah.
Yeah. Long time ago.
You might not even seen the original, huh?
Yeah.
I probably saw like parts of it.
I don't think he even saw the original.
Probably not. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe.
No.
I'm not big into the movies.
2 years ago, not this past summer, the summer before, me and my
wow,
me and my
that's
son
cool.
watched it. Yeah.
Oh man,
It's part of my son's cultural education. We're watching all these movies.
Yeah, in case he wants to learn, the business of being a cooler.
Dude, we watched Roadhouse the same weekend we saw Smokey and the Bandit. Just for his redneck cred, because he is native born Texan. I want to make sure that he's
You're raising a good kid there, is what it sounds like to me.
Well,
But
he's
listen, I watched Roadhouse. I feel like I watched it recently, but I guess it was like 2011 because me and my former co-host Osterlin, it kept coming up on shows after shows, and I even pulled little clips from it. And we're like, we need to just sit down and watch this piece of crap again because we both remembered it as a bad movie, enjoyable, but it is what it is. It's a bad movie, and I didn't remember when I watched it the first time in 1989 or whatever that toward the end, Patrick Swayze rips out Wesley's throat like it's a goddamn Mortal Kombat finish move. And I was like, where did that come from? I've been like laughing and having a good time. And there's a punch in the face and there's a beautiful chick. And that girl's got some nice cleavage. And Patrick Swayze just said something clever. And then all of a sudden he rips the dude's throat out. Wesley. Yeah.
There was it's like in that town, the worst crime committed that night wasn't by the drug dealer they were trying to shut down.
No.
It was by the murderous bouncer at the Double Deuce.
It was by the extremely sexy, romantic, and well-respected bouncer, the best cooler in the business.
Sure, yeah.
Cooler. That's something that bugged me the whole movie. I
like weird tight pants on though, or something. I remember there was something about it. I was like, you're not gonna find your bouncer dressed like that.
No. First of all, you're not going to find your bouncer. Patrick Swayze was about 5'7", 125 pounds. That's no joke. Patrick Swayze was tiny. So
he's a little guy?
No, he's a tiny guy. Patrick Swayze was a little dancer boy. Oh, yeah. But he was ripped. I mean, he had 0% body fat and he was ripped. But if he was an MMA fighter, he'd be like fighting 135. You know what I mean? He'd be like one of those little guys. So, that right there I thought was a bit of a flaw.
Well, the part of the movie that stands the test of time is the YouTube viral video that gets passed around. I see this about every 3 years. And that is the montage of every time someone gets punched in the face in Roadhouse. And I don't mean like the full context with the 30 seconds leading up to it. It's just bam, 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 bam. And it lasts like 4 minutes, which is a ridiculous amount of time for just constant face punches. And it's not a punch in the gut. It's not a punch in the shoulder. It's not like a swing and a miss. These are all face punches. And I'd been aware of that viral video before I rewatched it about 10 years ago. And if you've seen it, that's all you see now. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe how much people are getting punched in the face. I've worked at some bars and I worked at, some bars where fights happen. Man, I didn't see that many face punches in my entire bar working career.
No, I was a bartender for a lot of years. I was a doorman, a bar back, all that stuff for a lot of years. And there was no way maybe there'd be like one fight every couple of weeks, and half of those took place outside in the parking lot, Yeah. By the way, Patrick Swayze was 5'9" tall. There you go. That's according to Google.
Well, that's not a little guy. That's
or 5'10". I'm seeing 5'10" too. But he's not a big guy. A 5'9" is not
Somehow I don't see the 120 pounds being accurate either.
Okay, well,
a little light, isn't it?
Oh, really? When I said he was 5'5", 120, you didn't take me at my word there. You didn't think I was just, 5'9". He was probably what, $145, $150?
No,
I don't know. He certainly moved out of the whatever you said bantam class weight.
Look, if he's 5'10", the way he's built, he's probably like 180. 185?
No way. No way. I'm supposed to be 180. At 6 foot tall, I'm supposed to be 180 pounds. And that's like, are you kidding me? No way, 5'10".
Yeah, 150.
Hold on.
I'd say 150.
What should a man weigh
And I
if
was like
he's 5'9" tall? There you go. Google will answer it.
when I started college, I was super skinny. I was 6'2" and 190 pounds.
Okay, so it says 5'9". Normal weight for somebody who is 5'9" is between 128 pounds and 162 pounds.
Oh, okay.
That's
All right.
So
Well, stand
150 was right there in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
you
still
got it.
little. That's still tiny. That's not a bouncer in some really hardcore Iowa.
I'm not
showdown.
suggesting that it is.
All right.
It's still 25% heavier than you gave him.
All right, fellas, let me see. Okay, let's not get distracted. Let me show you something here, folks. Our boy Ed here at the Radio Misfits Podcast Network, he could stand to take a few notes here. I want you to watch this, James. This is how you open a podcast. These are some kids down in Houston. They're doing a podcast.
Thank you for being part of the Houston community and culture. And we'll get you. It got so quiet in here. How should I?
Oh my!
More often.
How about that, boys? Huh? Is that how you start a podcast or what?
Okay.
What happened?
Why?
I said, what happened?
Right. Well, we know a car ran through the damn window behind them.
Obviously, they were doing one of these remote podcasts where they set up in the front window of the local coffee shop. And some dude, here, let's watch it again. We'll even go a little bit slower with it so we can see the.
And because there was nothing else to do.
events
after.
unfold.
So you decided.
Hold on.
A little burp.
Here we go.
Sorry. So you decided during that, you said IGTV is going to be that platform that I go down versus YouTube versus Pinterest was out at that point. I don't know any of that bullshit.
What the hell's going on here? When does this thing
It's
here?
not
We'll start
recording.
again. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, they sound.
And then we're recording. All right, we're ready.
Okay, cool.
Oh my God, you're not even gonna believe who the fuck I'm here with right now. Alexei.
Wait a second,
Reyes,
where's the
right?
car?
That's the way to pronounce it? Good. I was checking your
No, I'm
Instagram and
lost.
I'm like, I really don't know. This is the way it's pronounced, but I was correct, so that is good.
I'm glad.
Yeah,
I'm
you
glad.
messed it up a
because
lot,
podcast
but-
starts in the
Reyes?
podcast
No,
the rest of it.
Alexei.
Oh,
There's
here it
Alexi.
comes. Wait, here it is.
There you go.
Oh God.
That's funny.
Like-
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, no way. All right, well, it was great. I added an explosion on the thing. Yeah, so even better.
Oh, the
Um,
sound effect,
Yeah, man,
ironic.
it's always great to talk to you and catch up and shit, and
Yes,
hope
thank you
everything's
for
going well.
having
Of
me.
course.
This is so fun. I need to go back and watch some of the other episodes.
I have,
Dude's
and
gay, right? Like, we don't know anything about him, but we're pretty much sure he's gay, right?
I mean, gay or like Mormon?
Gay. What does that mean? I mean, I think he sounds like the Hollywood version of a gay man. He's got that voice, right? Did you ever seen that documentary? What is it?
Yeah. But I mean, look, when you're wearing a sports jersey like that.
What, you can't like sports and be gay? I just think that he's very, he sounds like a
Well,
gay man.
no. Look, not only is it a sports jersey, it's wildly unfashionable. He doesn't have his hair done. He's not really keeping up with his appearance. I think he just might be a really effeminate nerd.
Well, I didn't say he was a good gay. He could be a nerd gay. E, what's your take on this guy?
Gay, not gay.
The gaydar went off, so I can't say that I don't think he's gay.
I mean, we don't care. We're
no,
just
I don't care. I don't care at all. I have zero care. But I'm just saying, I'm with Pugs. I felt like something about him feels a little bit feminine to me.
All right, let's continue.
And for everybody's convenience, I have now started to make medium-sized clips. So I have short-form content.
highlights.
I have the highlights. Yes. So I have a
Like
few.
I take it back. He's gay.
Exact-
I take it back. He's gay.
He's gay. Highlight.
Yeah, the intentional list.
He dragged us around. Where's the car?
I'm getting
yeah,
everything
this
wrong
podcast people
today.
do short. I've noticed short, medium, and long-form content. So
Yeah.
that's exactly
A
what I'm
1
trying to
hour
do.
podcast.
So everyone's got something to like, and we did talk a lot about our good shit. So
Maybe.
So-
Oh, no.
we'll get you.
That's the best part.
Oh,
That's so
now
quiet.
I see the car.
That's
in
nice that the
here.
car did
Ah,
wait
here
till the end of
comes.
the podcast. Oh,
All right, you see it now, E?
Yeah.
so it got hit.
No, he took the turn way too. Let's see if I
Oh,
can back.
okay.
He took the turn way too. Here,
And we'll get you. Got so quiet.
there he comes.
And we'll get you.
See, he's trying to make a right turn, and he's
It's
going
so
way too
quiet in
fast.
here.
See? Here it comes. Oh!
How did I?
Oh, my God. All right.
Is the guy all right? The
I
other
think
one?
yeah, everybody's fine. That's why I'm showing it and having fun with it. But man,
Okay.
is that a way.
He went down. He didn't come up.
I was reading a thing that said that that was posted like 2 hours ago. He had like 20 followers on YouTube, and now he's got like 5,000 in like 2 hours. I don't know, something crazy. Anyway, good for him. They're all
So, like, if we
James-
sawed the tree down in the back and it fell on the house, you think that it happened to us?
Yeah, I don't think it'd be worth it though.
It'd be
I don't
good
want to
for
go.
our stats.
Yeah, I don't want to go all Greg Abbott. James, you got anything? What's on your mind?
Well, I saw a viral video that evoked very strong emotions from me, and I don't even need to play you the viral video. It was just some dad that was griping about how many dress up days that we have in school, and you've got a kid that's about the same age as my kids, and Pugs, you got a kid that's the same age as my kids. Have y'all noticed? Because we didn't have dress up days like this when I was in school. Does your school do this? All the dress up days? Like, well, it's the week of homecoming, so Monday's going to be crazy socks day, and Tuesday's going to be pajama day, and Wednesday's going to be wear a funny hat day. And
All right.
No.
I will say yes in high school, but not my kid participates in a lot of these, or there seems to be a lot of these kinds of things that go on as well. I don't remember them so much in middle school. I don't remember them so much in elementary school. In high school, yeah, because you started to have the establishment of clubs like cheer clubs and
your
all.
kid's not in high school, so we're not talking about your experience. I'm telling you, like this generation of kids, they have dress up days, and we didn't have dress up days. I don't think freaking ever. It was like, like wear
not
blue and
5,
gold
6,
on
7
Friday
days
for
straight,
for
yeah.
homecoming. Yeah. But they have these dress up days where it's basically you got to send your kid in a costume to school, and this is happening way too much. And this is
What
just
do you mean costume?
See, here's where I think this slides in. All this race and gender identity crap, like all that. I think it's sliding into James's brain that it's happening because we're doing this dress up.
Is that where we're going? Is that where? Yeah, explain it. Go deeper.
Well, that's what I think he's going. I think he's like, he's
look at
saying
me.
it's too much of this. Like your kid dresses up this week is this, next week is that, expressing themselves in all these different costumes.
Let's let him continue. I don't think he's gotten all the way through to what his point is, but yeah, okay. I see what you're saying now. Go ahead, James. We all know what you really mean. Go ahead.
Right. And the reason I'm filing this complaint is my dislike of anyone darker than me. Amy is exactly right. I have an antipathy toward non-whites, and it expresses itself through my hatred of dress up day. No, it just there's so much that goes on, and I understand like wanting to keep the kids engaged and wanting to keep school fun and not just some sterile, boring environment that they absolutely loathe. Let's make it fun for them, let them enjoy it too.
Right, because being on the edge of your seat, afraid a school shooter might burst through the door, that's not enough for these kids. They need distractions.
Sure.
Well, I mean, that way they need distractions from the ugly reality of what going to school in 2023 means.
What? No, this isn't a school shooter thing anyway.
Well, no,
yeah,
I'm
but
not
I
saying
think
that it
you're
is.
saying you think there's too much of it.
I am. There's too
I
much
think you're saying there's too much of it, and
I'm saying why
because
it
there's
exists.
too much of it, it's created this gender identity. Oh well, today I want to be a this, tomorrow I want to be a that. Yeah, I think that's what you're saying.
All right, man. I ain't paddling for a little while, but I'm in your canoe. Take me somewhere. Where are you going with this?
Yeah, man. Both of y'all are so wrong. None of this is motivated by racial or tranny butt hurt. No, this isn't motivated by school shooters. This is motivated.
Well, no. My point is that they're trying to do things to distract from a very real specter that hangs over a lot of people. Oh, you don't think that's true? I mean, I had a long conversation with my 13-year-old this weekend about it.
On an average year in America, do more students get struck by lightning or shot by a school shooter?
Oh my God, is that a straw man? That is absolutely, and come on,
You
man.
don't answer.
Why are you
That's
steering the canoe
absurd.
away from the costumes that you're not in favor of?
Who,
Absurd.
me? No. I'm answering the criticism from one of my co-hosts here. Look, and it's not just the
No, you're not. You're trying to deflect away from what's real here, and what's real here is I'm saying you don't think that's something kids are concerned about?
No, they're absolutely not. No,
Okay, I'm
0%
telling you I
chance.
disagree with you because my
What?
kid is, and my kid has talked to me about it.
Okay. Well, okay.
So,
Well,
but this isn't the conversation we're having. So go ahead. Now I'm into Emil's canoe, though. I'm looking for you to start tranny bashing. So
no,
let's-
this isn't a training bashing thing because this is one piece in sort of a list of complaints that not just I have, but a lot of other parents have, because I talk to a lot of parents. Like there's
It's
another
too
thing.
much,
Now, look, here's another thing that's going
right?
on.
That's what they're saying. It's too much. All these costumes are just too much. It's over the line.
Well, look, if it was only the costumes, I probably wouldn't have a beef with it. But we have now 60 school districts starting in the fall in Texas that are going to be doing 4-day work weeks. There's 3 of them that are around here in Bug Tussle, like Athens, not like the one in Greece, but the Athens over here in East Texas is the one that's getting all the attention. They've been doing it all year this year, and 2 other schools around here that be getting a lot of attention. There's going to be a lot more following suit. And it's like, damn it, man. Like, why is the solution to falling test scores less school? We only got to go 4 days a week. Like, these are all bad ideas. Hey, we need to get our scores up. Well, let's have them dress up as a horse when they come to school. That'll help. And I know these people are well-intentioned.
Okay, so you're conflating a couple of issues. We've moved
Yeah,
on
I'm
from some
conflating like
things
4
now.
or 5 issues.
So just basically the way schools and your children are being educated is what burns your ass. That's what you're getting into. Go,
There
James.
there seems to be attention that is being drawn away from academics at all times. And then the complaint about academics is like, wow, I don't understand why our scores are going down. Because when I was a kid, there was and it still exists, there's a very legitimate complaint that we pay way too much attention to football and other sports for our kids, especially in high school, for the amount of import, especially in small town Bug Tussle, Texas, that we put on football. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And I didn't think that until I went to college, where we didn't have a football team. And I was like, oh, we don't have football, and everyone's paying attention to their test that's coming up and actually focusing on academics. And this actually feels like more of a real school and not just sort of a playhouse for extracurricular activities. And so I just think that little path, and these are legitimate complaints that we spend too much time focusing on football and basketball and sports and not academics. We've expanded our distractions away from academics to now include costumes and 4-day weeks. And now we get snow days off. They get rain days off. Did you ever get a rain day off? Like, well, it's raining too hard. Better not go to school tomorrow. That didn't happen once in my lifetime, but it happens over and over and over with my kids. And this is why schools are falling off, man. That's
Okay, so the rain days and all the canceled school days, that's not really about why they're canceling school. They're canceling school because they have made some sort of a estimate that it wouldn't be worth it for the danger that a child walking to school in the rain might incur, and then a parent would sue the school, and then the sue district would have to, defend themselves. That's what that shit, all these off school days that we now have. Man, I used to go to school with like a foot of snow on the ground. I tell people all the time, like, snow days for me growing up, I probably had 3 snow days my entire life. And I lived through like 10 blizzards.
Do not ever let anyone diminish that argument. That is a legit argument, Pugs, even though I didn't go through it. And then people make fun of, oh, yeah, back in my day, I had to walk uphill both ways in the snow. No. There's something to be said about those old people that were griping about how soft we become. And now,
right, but let's talk about the reason for that. Look, no, it's not the kids' fault. It's not the modern kids' fault that they're not as hardcore as grandpa was.
It's us.
It's about attorneys, man. This is about lawsuits being filed, needless climb up the system lawsuits being filed against school districts.
Yes.
And school districts already, every election cycle, they go through another pearl-clutching moment where they have to worry about their budgets being slashed again. So school districts are doing whatever the fuck they can to stay out of litigation. And that's why we're seeing all kinds of stuff like, there's going to be lightning today. Can't have the buses running. What? My buses. Hey, you grew up in Buffalo. How many days did you go to school hoping it was going to be a snow day? But it wasn't. They made you go to school anyway.
I mean, if it was a snow day, it was because you couldn't get to school.
because the
Like
city was
it
paralyzed.
wasn't like, oh well, it was good in our neighborhood and bad in yours. Like it was bad everywhere if it was a snow day.
But now they preemptively, in places like Chicago, I don't know about Buffalo, but I can tell you from living in Chicago, now they preemptively cancel school like the day before. Why? Well, because if they knew ahead of time, they didn't let the parents know. And what if a parent got into a car accident in the morning because she didn't get the message that their school was canceled? You know what I mean? It's this. All of this stuff is ridiculous, and it's
Okay.
all because of lawyers.
It
It's
is.
because of lawyers.
I agree. Look, and look, Sharon says it's because teachers don't want to go to school. I mean, there's not going to be a whole lot of pushback from teachers and teachers unions because they have to work less. But this is more of lawyers than a complaint about teachers or even teachers unions. Yes, I totally agree. This has to do with frivolous lawsuits, and if someone gets in a wreck on the way to school during a rainstorm, then it opens them up to lawsuits and all that kind of goofy stuff. But the place that was the worst was New Orleans. Like Bug Tussle isn't nearly as bad, but the fact that it's happening here in Bug Tussle and I witnessed it in New Orleans lets me know this is a pretty ubiquitous issue across this entire generation of schooling. And so I feel a little more confident in my complaint. But the best evidence I have is like New Orleans has 2 rainy seasons, one in the spring and one in the fall, where it might just rain for every day for 2 weeks. Not all day every day, but just at some point in the day, it's going to rain for really about a month. And so it was like 2 Aprils ago. It was right before COVID. It had rained Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so everything is soaked. Now, on Thursday, it was barely sprinkling, but we're expecting a cold front to come in. So Friday was going to be a big rainstorm. So they canceled class for Friday on a Thursday. Friday was the first day in 2.5 weeks that it didn't rain.
Hey, they just canceled school in this area. My kid was off school last week, like a day or two, because it was supposed to be cold. Not even because it was cold, but because
Right.
they were saying it was gonna be cold.
Yeah. So for the
I
people
think
who
Dalkis is the one who controls like who goes to school in Dallas.
The weathermen do have crazy power. Here's another question I have about this whole thing, though, because now we've done this. We have proof of concept that mobile learning in a pinch works. That kids don't have to go to school; they can still learn from their bedrooms on their laptops. The way
I
they
think we
did
just
during
learned
the
that
pandemic.
mobile learning failed.
No, I said in a pinch. I said
Okay.
not for every single day, but we've learned that this is something that we know we can pull off if a kid needs. So how come why on school when my kid's school was canceled last week? I'm like, so you're doing mobile learning, right? And he's like, no. I go, why not? If they really cared about educating you, they'd be like, okay, we're going to mobile learning today because we can't get to school because of the weather.
Yeah. Okay. So you're so right. So here's another
It's
thing that really
disingenuous on their part. Their argument about all of these decisions are made for the safety of the children is disingenuous. It's
thank
not.
you. All right. And look, here's another great example. When we were on coronavirus lockdowns and we were doing mobile school, we had Hurricane Zeta come through, or Ida. I forgot which one. It was a hurricane come through. They canceled preemptively virtual school before the hurricane got there. How the hell
So
do
kids were
you
already doing school from home.
Yeah. So how do you cancel virtual school? It's like, listen, I know you're going to be at home playing on your computer all day, but just whatever you do, don't open a browser window and go check on your schoolwork. Please, God.
Well, let me try devil's advocate. But maybe it's because there would have been large areas where the children didn't have internet connections because of power outages, because of a storm, and that would be maybe unfair. So they just said, you know what, let everybody just have the day off.
Yeah, and that would make sense if they didn't preemptively cancel everything like 48 hours before the power outages may have happened, because the power outages
Okay,
didn't
all right.
happen. And so we
So they have
just
no
screwed
faith
everything
in their
up.
local municipal infrastructure. They have no faith in that. So they preemptively canceled school.
Right. And look, I understand being skeptical of the infrastructure in New Orleans, certainly. But after all this, where we take days off of school for hard rain, or we even cancel virtual school because it might rain hard tomorrow. Now we want to move to a 4-day work week. You already have summers off. You already get 2 weeks off for Christmas. You get a fall break. You get a spring break. You get off for President's Day. You get off for
What are you
Columbus Day. You
down
get off
to
for Arbor
teachers?
Day or crap like that. Go to work. Damn it. Our kids
Are you talking about the teachers?
I'm talking about
No,
school, period. I'm not.
He-
look, the
he's
teachers
talking
aren't
about
looking at
kids.
this. Yeah.
You're saying you already get the summer off. Well, that
Yes.
sounds like a teacher.
Well, both. Well, it's just the schools, period. I'm not griping about the students. They don't get to choose when and where they go to school.
He's lamenting a lack of import being put on the actual drilling in the heads of these kids in education.
Right.
Because they're always doing something else.
And the
They're
same
off because of
people
weather, they're off because of summer, they're off because it's dress up day or whatever. That's I think what his lament is. Now try and get him to talk about trannies. Go.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's clear that he thinks that we're giving kids too many opportunities
To be
to,
trannies.
to play different characters.
I agree. I agree.
You got me on that one, guys.
Mhm.
But yeah. Okay, just generally speaking, you hear about the idea of a 4-day school week. What do you think? Because listen, I don't mean to like chum the water or whatever.
Okay.
When I ask moms and dads, I get a different response. When I ask dads are almost always, well, who's going to take care of the kids on Friday?
Okay, so here would be I have a question for you first. 4-day school week for kids. Can you tell me why people are saying this is a good idea? I mean, you may be against it, I may be against it, we all may be against it. But what is the pros of this argument? Because I'm unfamiliar with it.
E, go ahead.
I would say you could do a 4-day week, add 2 hours to what would be the 8-hour days. So make the 4 days 10 hours versus the 5 days 40 hours. So you could do 40 hours in 4 days, or you could do 40 hours in 5 days. If you did
Oh,
the
wait,
40,
kids don't do 40 hours of school a week.
No, but it's the same
well, but
concept.
same concept. So you just add 2 hours or an hour and a half to each of
Right.
the 4 school days, and then there you are. You've got the same
Okay,
amount.
but my question stands to James. Why? What are the proponents of this?
Well, I think it shortens the amount of time that the school has to be maintained. So you're going to have one off day, one less use.
Okay, money saving across the board.
I
Okay.
think heating and electric and things like that, there'll be some utility savings
Okay, I
because of
understand
that. I think that it would create a opportunity for them to do school in, you know, I would say less space.
Well, okay. So, James, what do you think? Is there an argument that you're offering this conversation? So you must know what the argument on both sides is. So, what is it?
All right, so the argument in favor of it splits on two completely different islands that do not overlap. So that's what makes this argument a little difficult for me to even come to a firm conclusion on. But
Okay.
half of the arguments are for why it's good for the students, and the other half is why it's good for the teachers. And these two do not overlap very well. So I'm not sure if they are
What's good
really.
for the students? Explain to me, because this is where I'm probably going to side on. I'm going to side on the side that is probably that is best for the students. So, what is the argument that it's better for the students?
Okay, so there's a
More free
handful.
time? Is that just it? Just more free time?
That's part of it. More time to have extracurricular activities. You know, like if you want to plan like a school event, like a school carnival or something, you
Yeah.
could do it on a Friday during normal school hours, and you know.
This ain't a good idea for poor kids. I can tell you right now. This is
Or-
not a good idea for. It's a great idea for kids here in Highland Park, Texas. They'll be able to go to like teenage yoga classes and all kinds of fun shit. But if you're, growing up in a bad neighborhood, this just means
Yeah, and a lot of the pro 4-day week arguments I can't argue against because they're predictions, and we just don't have the body of information to make a sound judgment
I
on.
think it's interesting that you say that.
Well, look, a couple of the other arguments are they're saying students will perform better if they're on a 4-day school week versus a 5-day school week. Well, you can't know that. We have no body of evidence to pull from. And let's let a couple of these schools do it for a few years. See if they really do better before you even put that argument forward, you dishonest bastards. But they're putting it forward. They also say the 4-day schedule reduces discipline issues for schools because the school districts that have already tried it, they've had their discipline referrals decline by X%.
Well,
or
yeah, because
whatever.
there's one less day a week where kids are being confrontational. Well,
Right.
that's obviously that number. You know what else? They're serving less lunches too. That's also something that happens when you go one less day a week. Here's my okay. So this is not unique to schools. This is a movement that is very popular. There was just a huge study done in the corporate world of the corporate world moving away from the 40-hour work week, the 5-day a week thing. Many companies now, especially in Europe and in Japan, they have moved completely to a 4-day work week now. If that was, and there's a bunch of American companies, especially these tech companies, that have embraced it as well. And they think that it's better for their people. Their people get more free time. They get more 3-day weekend every week. Now, that will be that's not a problem. Actually, as I'm working this out now, if the kids are in school on Friday and the parents are off, that's not a problem for the parents. So maybe this is just, are they looking to expand the weekend? Is that really what this is about? Expanding the weekend to 3 days for kids and adults? Because if the corporate world is moving to a 4-day work week, you're probably going to have the kids do that as well. Well,
I agree.
All right, so let me give you the cynical James rundown of this, because the other island makes
You mean
more
the true James?
yeah, it's because I hate trannies. No, the other island of excuses makes far more sense than this is for the students. If you make the argument in favor of the teachers, oh, now this makes sense. Because the teacher schedule as it stands right now, and I just had this conversation with my sister and my aunt, who are both teachers at different school districts out here in BFE. They work 187 days a year as it stands right now. That's with the 3 months off during the winter, the spring break, fall break, Christmas break.
full pennies, pension, all of it. It's a good gig.
Yeah, Thanksgiving, all that, whatever. So they work 187 days. Bro, you shave off 20% of that. And my sister and my aunt think a 4-day school week is amazing, because now what are they going to be working instead of 187 days a year? What are they going like? What are they at, 150 days a year? They're going to be working less than half of the days out of the calendar year. And now, and it's not just a nice little amenity for my sister and my aunt. The legit argument, though, is that it is really good for retaining talent. For teachers, because teachers who are smart and who are skilled and are probably really good at their job, they get low pay long enough to have a tendency to be plucked off by other business interests who would be willing to pay them more for that human being that could be better served in some other capacity. And so that is a legit argument that I totally understand, that I think is correct, that I have no argument against. This is very good for retaining good teachers. I will give them that. Y'all agree to that? I mean, is that as obvious to me as it is to everyone else?
Okay, so I see the point that you're making there, but this is a much larger issue, and the issue is that the world is changing. We'll go back to the 4-day work week again, okay? Why are corporations moving to 4-day work weeks? Well, because they have the same amount of people, or maybe more now that millennials are fully engaged with the workforce. You have a same amount of people with a lot less work. I mean, we just don't have the work. Computers do the work of like a dozen men from the 1980s. So, you're keeping these people around. These corporations are like, we don't want to do mass layoffs, but we also don't need to have all of these, corporate offices and buildings fully operating. That's what's driving it. What's driving it is our new dependence on AI and our ability to not need 12 guys to do the job of one computer now or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what are we going to do with people when we really don't need laborers? We really don't need. How many laborers did you need before the bulldozer, right? So it's sort of incrementally been going down as technology has changed. Go ahead, E.
Well, but
I mean, we're going to start working less,
I
and we're going
think
to start having
some of
more
it is also become the computer that stopped or has killed some of the grunt workers.
Yeah.
Like Amazon has let everybody sit their ass behind their computer and empty out a department store or create less visits to a mall.
Yeah, but that's progress. That's always happened. Do you know when they introduced the wheel? Do you know how many slaves lost their jobs? I mean, when it was taking, you know,
Well, but I
1,000
think
men to pull a boulder, and then one day some guy said, "Look, we got a wheel now. We only need 30 men to pull the same
Yeah, or
boulder."
more accurately, like the harvesting combine or the cotton gin. Yeah, you're
but
absolutely
I
right.
think the whole real estate map itself 20 years ago was created like, okay, it was Dallas, then it was Richardson, then it was Plano, then it was, you know, whatever the heck's out there now.
Right, the expansion of the American
Yeah.
suburbs.
But every time it just kind of flipped over almost like it was a waffle pattern. Like, okay, we're going to have the Home Depot and the Lowe's, and they're going to be on opposite sides of the highway. And we're going to have the fast food restaurants here, and you're going to see the Best Buy, and you're going to see the, you know, other chain big box store. And then there'd be about 30 miles in between. And then it'd be the next Texas town down 75. And then it'd be, and it just, it was just the same kind of rollover.
uh,
I mean, it
what do you
is.
mean? What do you mean? What's the point? I don't get what your point is, James. I'm trying to be gracious. We were talking about, you know, AI replacing the need for people in the office, and we got a lesson on, you know, the birth of McKinney. I don't know what that was.
Well, there was like an evolutionary parallel
What,
that
Did you think?
I'm not sure if
what
I
I'm
digested all of
saying,
that.
what I'm saying is that the economics, the real estate has changed now. Like
Okay.
all of those things that were built that way before Amazon came in and stopped us to needing all those locations, we would just get it delivered now to the house. Like the whole delivery of things
Oh
has
yeah, the
changed.
brick and mortar business model of the last 100 years is no longer a thing in this country. So what about all of those people? What about the janitors? What about the people who rang you up? What about, where do those people do? What jobs do they have now? That's what I'm saying. You don't need people to be working the way we used to. So I just think there's going
But
to be.
we have more jobs now than we've ever had. We just don't have the ability to fill those jobs because the people that have left the other jobs have not retrained or given a crap in a way to be a different type of employee.
Yes. Now, look, I'm the raging capitalist in the room, and all this progress does not bother me at all. For every job that is being decimated by an advance in technology, a new job is being created, if not two. And we have entire industries that didn't exist when just you and I were kids. Like, and I know some of this sounds frivolous, but this is serious. Like the My Pillow guy. My mother-in-law has like a luxury pillow that she spent $70 on. Did anyone have luxury pillows when we were growing up? Did anybody get like a $70 pillow when we were growing up? Do we have?
I would imagine Neiman Marcus had them.
Yeah, my grandma had a special fancy pillow. It had fur on it and stuff, but we didn't call it a luxury pillow. It was
Right,
just,
but
don't
I'm
spill
just saying,
Kool-Aid on grandma's pillow.
right, but in the mainstream, there are entire industries that didn't exist when we were kids, and it's not just obvious stuff like Uber and Amazon and DoorDash or whatever. But
Obvious stuff. Like if you'd have been around in the 80s, you'd have come up with it.
well, no, like look, everyone who's alive in 2023 knows we didn't have this stuff before the
Right.
smartphone. And so that enabled all this stuff. But there's a lot of other industries and jobs that exist now that didn't exist when we were kids that aren't dependent on the smartphone. That every time you open someone up from having to pick radishes all damn day every day, he gets to put that intellectual power into something a little more productive than picking radishes, and we all go
Okay,
forward.
so you're telling me that the guy who picks radishes is now going to have opportunities to what? To what? What are you're telling me? You're promising opportunities to the guy who picks radishes.
Yeah. So this is Bitsbox. This is a game my kids play, but it teaches you how to teach in JavaScript. And so I have a 12-year-old that could take an entry-level job at coding JavaScript. So he could do the front end on forms that are on websites and apps and all these other online applications. I learned how to program apps post college, so it is doable. and people develop new skills all the time. And if you don't want to develop new skills, don't develop new skills. Go be a bouncer at the Double Deuce or whatever. It's up to you. And if that person doesn't want to develop new skills, hey, that's up to them. If they do, they now have a lot more better options than the previous radish picking options that they were stuck with before. I'm a big fan of all progress and technology moving forward. I'm just not so sure about, hey, our kids are getting dumber. What should we do? Well, we should make them go to school less. I'm not sure that's the solution we're looking for.
Well, no, right. But I think we kind of got off on two different conversations there, and you just tied them both together a little bit clumsily, I think. I don't think they're the same argument. I don't think the argument about replacing jobs, tech coming in and taking away jobs from the labor force or unskilled workers or the middle class or the blue collar worker, whatever you want to call it. I don't think that's the same thing as your argument about kids, about the problems in schools. You and I agree on the school issue. I think, right? We pretty much agree.
Well, are you for 4-day school weeks, or are you for 5-day school weeks? Because I can find a more compelling argument for something I would have absolutely loathed as a kid, and that's for year-round school.
So I got to be honest with you. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to give you an informed opinion on that subject because I'm really just considering it now. I had considered it and I had talked about it on the noon show, the 4-day work week just last week when that big study came out. But I really hadn't even considered it for kids. So that is an interesting. But it seems to me if the family's going to have, more leisure time, 3 days, match it up with the way the parents are working. But again, not everybody works for big corporations, right? I mean, not everybody is just suddenly going to go to a 4-day work week.
Well, still, most of us in America work for a small business. If we're not self-employed, we work for a small business, and that's more than 50% of the country.
And I think if you're going to a 4-day week, I mean, somewhere somebody's got to say, okay, Friday is that day that's no longer a work day.
Yeah, no, it'll be Monday. It'll be Monday. Monday will be the day. That's at least the way they do it in Europe.
I think in Athens, they're taking off Friday.
Well, Belgium is like the test country for this. Belgium has been on a 4-day work week now for, I think, a year or two. And they do it's Mondays. You work Friday.
Good. Yeah, let's let a whole first world country test this out for a few years before we.
All it does is focus when you're ending.
Hold on. Belgium's got their shit together, right? I mean, this isn't like it's being tried out in Central Africa. Belgium, we think those people, right? I mean, someone from Belgium could date your daughter, right, James?
Maybe one of the French ones, not one of the Flemish ones. They're very sketchy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you're more comfortable with Belgium's decision making than you are of a place in a different part of the world?
No.
I am, especially in an issue like corporate work policy. Yeah, I would rather see how that flies in Belgium than it does in San Salvador.
No. Well, I have a slightly different take, but it comes to the same conclusion here, where I do not hold Belgium in high regard whatsoever. I would just like some other country to go do this so we can have at least a body of information to where when these people are saying, well, this will improve test scores. You don't know that. You're just saying that because you want it. You're just like saying what you want to be true. And so that can't be an argument for this if you can't prove it yet. That's what you hope happens. And so it's like, well, this will make students miss school more. This will have less sick days for teachers. I'm glad these theories are being thrown out there, but you can't use that for an argument until we have the body of knowledge. And that's what Belgium might provide us with without any damage or risk to our kids. Yeah,
and I would argue that your proximity to the North or the South Pole being shorter than in other countries probably is why you're excluded.
Explain.
Meaning the higher you are to the North Pole, the more white you are.
Oh, you mean the closer to the North Pole or the closer to
like the closer you are to the North or the South Pole,
like where this is going,
the more white you are.
Yeah.
So therefore, that decision making of a country is biased because there is no racial diversity.
What do you mean?
Meaning that there's no racial diversity. There's not many people that are black living up in the upper North Pole.
No, there's not. They're closer to the equator. That's
Yeah,
why
you're right. There's no blacks on the North Pole, so let's make our education policy accordingly.
Not many.
I don't get it, dude. That's not an argument.
Percentage-wise,
Oh.
according to real life statistics.
Hey, we got like a couple of minutes left. You do anything awesome in Vegas this weekend? He was there for the big John.
Oh, yeah, I had
What'd you do?
I went to
Stop
clubs.
left on your knee. That's weird. Thank you.
My knee.
Yeah,
I went to
cat.
Club Zook, where Tiesto. Remember Tiesto, the
Oh
DJ?
my god! Yeah, he was like the world's #1 DJ for like 10 years in a row. You saw Tiesto?
Yeah, he was at the club.
And what hotel is this club in?
Resorts World.
Okay.
And the club was Zouk, Z-U-K.
Z-U-K. All right.
So that was pretty fun.
Wow.
Got in there. I've got a video of a guy that I could send you that you might want to put up.
Did you gamble at all?
I did do some gambling, and
Did you win or lose?
I won a little bit here. Let
All
me
right,
let me send you the video, James, on this on this.
What are you showing us here? We're like running
If
out
I
of time.
send you the video on the phone, can you put it up?
Why don't we
Send
save
it
this
to
for
us.
tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll have to save for tomorrow. I don't think we.
Yeah, let's save it for tomorrow because we don't want to rush it tonight. And I don't know if you know about this or not, E, but James has a hard out at 10 o'clock. He doesn't even say goodbye. He just disappears at 10 o'clock.
Oh, really?
I have a recording session at 10:15. So
He's kind of a dick. All right. Well, we're gonna ride. No need to get into anything
we'll
else.
do the video from Vegas tomorrow.
Yeah, send it to him, E. Send it to him. And then wait a second. What do you
I have the Jake Gyllenhaal video too.
Sweet.
Oh, you do? Oh, okay. Yeah.
And he was walking out.
We'll watch all these home movies tomorrow. Maybe we'll even have a guest tomorrow. How come no guest tonight, James? You just decided not to book anymore?
Oh, am I the official booker? Is that
it turned out to be that way. I appreciated it. Look, I just want to make sure I'll take this
all day. What is your job that's taking up your entire workday that you can't schedule an interview?
I have specific people that I want to speak to on the stream. I have specific people that I want to reach out to and speak to privately. And we'll do those. I'll book one tomorrow.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's not illegal for you to book somebody too.
I will book one tomorrow. No, I just wanted to say I appreciate you just jumping in the way you have.
Thank you.
There you go. Look, he bites my fucking head off. All right, there he goes. There goes. All right, thank you, E.
Hey.
We'll see you tomorrow. It's always good having you back. There
All
you
right.
go. Let's see. This show airs every Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Hold on. Oh, things are going crazy over here. There we go. This is Pillow Talk. I am Pugs Moran. That was James Parker. We do this every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time till 10 o'clock. Right about now. I also do another one. It's a high noon stream, Monday through Friday, noon till whenever. That's about current events, hot topics, trends, whatever it is that's happening in the world. If it's happening at noon tomorrow, I'll be talking about it. It's your one-stop cheat sheet for all the things that are happening in the world. Non-politically divisive. None of that bullshit talk radio you hear on AM. None of that. This is the other stuff. This is the other stuff we can talk about. Oh, and we can still hate each other. You'll see. You'll see how that all plays out. Monday through Friday right here at noon on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. I'm Pugs Moran. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
Tomorrow is another day. The best is yet to come. I have found a different way, so baffling to some. I can smile a little now, things are going good. I always had to be on guard, that is understood. Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest. I am on a never-ending quest.